Hey, what's up, my little TisaTells? How are you guys doing? What's going on, Rita? Hey, AKA Peach. Hey, Aaron. Iron Sharper, Iron MSJ. Hey, what's up, Lily? Hey, Nikki Rodriguez. Thank you for joining. Yo, the episode was so good tonight. I actually had to come in here a little bit early. The episode was so good tonight. Y'all, I really have to ask y'all between Philip versus everybody, right? Philip versus Brian, Philip versus Don Juan, Philip versus Chandrika. Wait, take Chandrika's name off the list because Chandrika, our little Aquarius queen, she figured out how to swim those muddy waters. And now she got Philip wrapped around her finger. Yo, I really don't know what's going on with this. I don't know. You know, I'll say one thing. Kandi is really, really brave for showing what really goes on with restaurants. The star of the show was that clogged up sink that I can't stop. I couldn't get out of my head. I was like, why would producers show that? I would have thrown a towel over the sink. I was like, why are you showing that clogged up sink? Ew. And then the thing hanging down. Yo, I know Torn is the event planner, but Torn, can you please plan to hang the OLG sign up straight? I would very, very much appreciate that. See, here's the thing, right? Hey, Miss Innabug. Hey, Tracy D. Hey, Nessa. Hey, Pro Pam. What's going on? Joel, Kathy, what's going on? You said Lily said Philip, let's go. I thought you liked Philip, Lily. Last week you was like, oh, Philip was my guy. Philip is my guy. What happened now? Everybody's kind of sick of Philip. You see what we was talking about. See, here's the thing, right? Hey, Rim, what's going on? That's right. Hit the like button. See, here's the problem with Philip, and I don't think there's a problem. I'll say this, right? This episode was so good, and it kept making me flip flop into what was going on with Philip and whether he was the wrong one. Because catch this, right? Philip was sent in there to do a job. That place is in disarray. Everybody is running it like they running a family business, but it's hurting the business. Just like Dominique. Yeah, you have dance practice, but you coming in late. So nope, everybody got to go upstairs to get their drinks from the upstairs bar. The downstairs bar is in shambles. That downstairs bar shouldn't even been open. I don't even know what was laying on the floor. I was just like, oh, shut that whole thing down, right? But you running upstairs, right, to go get drinks. That's affecting money. And you see those stairs are narrow. That's affecting money. It's affecting customer service. It's affecting when things are getting done. You're coming in late, but part of the reason you're able to come in late is not just that Brandon is like really loosey goosey, and we'll talk about Brandon in a second. But Brandon like you, so Brandon ain't saying two words to you. You feel what I'm saying? And Brandon is used to running nightclubs. And everybody knows that in the restaurant industry, nightclubs are like the Wild Wild West. Because when the music's pumping and this and that, as long as you can get the drinks out, there ain't no such thing as customer service. There ain't no such thing as like, think about it. When's the last time somebody complained in a nightclub about taking forever to get their drink? You just wait to get your drink. If the bartender gets to you 30 minutes later, the bartender just gets to you 30 minutes later. Who complains at a nightclub? Brandon is used to that loosey goosey. Now, follow me on this, right? Let's look at things from everybody's different angle, right? Let's first look at Philip, right? I feel for Philip. Philip was put in a situation where he needs to crack the whip. But part of cracking the whip is you need to have absolute authority, or at the very least, your employees need to look at you as the buck stops there. Because Don Juan and Kandi and Todd, from what it seems like right now, are so involved, instead of them feeling like the buck stops with Philip, when Philip does something, they feel like they can go around. They feel like they can explain their piece to Don Juan, explain their piece to Kandi. When at the end of the day, if Philip says, and the thing is, I don't think what Philip's asking for is anything big. Philip is asking for the bare minimum. He's asking for people to listen, come on time, listen when he talks, when he gives them feedback, take that feedback and regurgitate it and put it into action. He's asking them to do their jobs. He sees a restaurant that is struggling. He sees a restaurant that needs help, and they do need some tough love, because even though that's like a family, they're not doing their jobs. And I feel for Philip that he even has to, as the head manager, because think about it, as the head manager, he has to have Don Juan sitting at a table, not because he can't manage it. I mean, we'll talk about that, but because unless Don Juan says it, Don Juan doesn't realize it, but by sitting at that table, he's giving them the clue that everything Philip wants to do has to be okayed with, it has to be okayed with Don Juan. It has to be okay with Kandi. It has to be okay with Todd. So it makes it seem like, okay, well, they're the ones making the decision, Philip. Why am I listening to you? I see why Philip is so angry. See why he's so frustrated. And here's the thing: if he don't whip them into shape, he's not going to be around in a week, right? However, and this is the part I don't understand with Philip. When you work in a restaurant environment, part of having good servers and part of having good bartenders are you are hiring performers. You are hiring extroverts, but also people that know how to put on a show for customers. Because think about it. When you go to a restaurant, you don't care if the bartender was arguing for a boyfriend. You don't care if the waitress is about to get evicted from her apartment. You don't care that the waitress hasn't seen her kids for 8 days. You just want your food. Nobody sits there and be like, hey, hon, what's going on? How you feeling? Like, are you ready to take my order? Nobody cares how people in the service industry are feeling. It's one of the things that's why you hire people that can always turn it on, no matter how sad their lives are, no matter how bad, no matter how good. They're always like, they're people pleasers. They love to interact. They love to make people smile, no matter what's going on with their life. Most people that work in the industry know that there's a price to pay for that. You're basically hiring performers. You're hiring performers. They are skilled actors. They are skilled actresses. They know how to make other people feel good, even when and also hide their personality to the point of somebody just leaves with a really good feeling, right? So in that case, you are working with performers, so to speak. Anybody knows that when you work with talent, talent is very temperamental. Talent is very it's very unstable. Talent has a lot of issues. And with Philip, he's trying to run it like it's a corporation. But there's a reason why and I'm not saying people that work a 9 to 5 can't wait tables. I am just saying that I think a lot of people underestimate how hard it is to work for the public. Whether you're a customer service person at Best Buy, whether you work at Payless Shoes, or whether you work at Old Lady Gang, or whether you work at Red Lobster. I think people underestimate how hard and difficult it is to work in the public. It takes a certain personality type, but those personality types usually have a problem with authority, have a problem with rules, have a problem with this because they feel like I'm given everything when I'm on the floor. So who cares if I come into a job 30 minutes late? Because I'm giving you everything I have. And if it takes me 30 minutes extra to get my mind and the mental to come in, then you should just be happy. Because who else is doing this like this? Because that's why people are coming back. Philip is running this job. He's running this job like he works for a Fortune 500 company. He is running this like he works for like a big four. He's running this like he works for a major law firm. That's what he's running it like. Philip, everybody knows that in the industry, personalities are very zany. People are unreliable. They're a little bit flaky. That is the trade-off when you basically are the director on a movie set with a bunch of temperamental actors. And the fact that also a lot of people that work in it, and I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying it's not uncommon. Ask your friends that know friends that know friends that work in the industry. It's not uncommon when you have people that work in the industry, it's not uncommon for them to be dealing with issues. Philip has to be sensitive to that. Did he know Brian's struggle that Brian told us about? No, he did not. Should you have expected that one of your servers might be dealing with some type of recovery, addiction, or at the very least, his sister tragically deleted herself from this earth? Is there any way Philip should have known that? Could have known that? No. But you work in the industry. You know how it is with volatile personalities. And the fact that you did not even get a chance to know your employees enough to know that major thing, because had he even known that, I believe the energy he came at Brian with would have been a lot differently. It would have been a lot different. And this is where Brandon does have some value because Brandon actually knows what's going on. Here's the thing. Is Brandon general manager material at this point? I don't see it. However, Brandon can be a great assistant manager because Brandon's job is to find out what everybody's going to going through, where they're at emotionally, and then talk to Philip. So Philip, but the thing is, Philip don't respect Brandon because Philip just wants to crack the whip, crack the whip, crack the whip. Unfortunately, right? In situations like that, when Philip came in, he would be allowed to fire everyone and hire new staff. Unfortunately for Philip, Kandi and Todd and Don Juan want to find a way to keep as much of the existing staff as they can. So if that is your job, Philip, to get it into shape while keeping as much assistant staff, as much staff as you can, then you need to find a way to talk to these people, not to the point that they run all over you like they do Brandon, right? Because Brandon is so concerned with what's going on with them emotionally. He doesn't even care if they do their job. But you need to find a way to connect with them emotionally enough that they trust you enough to lead. Because at a certain point, and I understand Philip's exasperation, at a certain point, you can't fire them. At a certain point, you did need Don Juan's permission to suspend Brian, and you sat there in front of Don Juan, right, and explained your piece, and then Brian explained his piece, and then Don Juan was like, okay, you know what, I think Philip's right, but Philip ain't had that authority to do it on his own. I think it's kind of like you either trust Philip to lead or not. Philip's in charge. Anytime somebody comes and complains, go talk to Philip. And then later on in private, Don Juan, Kandi, and them go talk to Philip. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, listen, Philip does need to know how to talk to them. But on the other hand, that staff is out of control. Again, would I put up with Philip talking to me like that? No. Have I had people that were my superiors when I was younger that talked to me like that? Absolutely. And I put up with it then because I was afraid of being fired. But had I known that I could just go to the boss and you couldn't fire me, oh, it wouldn't have been a conversation. Why am I talking to you? I'm just going straight to the boss. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know, y'all. Let me drop. Hey, what's up, guys? What is going on? Listen, Philip needs to know to stop. But if you notice when Philip was actually making like a point, his lip was shaking. And like, I feel like Philip literally puts on this tough guy persona. And I think that he doesn't know what to do when he has to connect emotionally with people to get them to listen because he doesn't want to let his emotional side go. Because I feel like, though, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I feel like once Philip gets attached to people, he's just as much of a softie as Brandon is, you know? Let me drop this call-in link. I want to hear what you guys have to say about the episode. I thought this episode was, listen, exactly. I do believe that, and again, they're only showing us, but I do believe that honestly, at this point, I'm saying, let Philip do his job. You cannot, it's kind of like your big brother or sister being like, I'm in charge. But every time they want to tell you to clean the dishes, it's you got to sit down with your big brother or big sister in front of your mom and dad and figure out like, and be like, well, I got to wash the dishes. And then they're just like, well, she got to wash the dishes. And then by the end of it, the mom and dad is like, okay, go wash the dishes. Even though Don Juan feels like he's mediating, and he might be, right? Part of the reason you're mediating is because the staff knows that they can always go to you. The staff knows they can always go to you to kind of get something out. Listen, I'm going to drop the call-in link really quick. Let's talk about this mess because this episode I think was so good. And literally, I've never seen an episode where I started off looking at Philip like, you ain't ish. Then I was like, well, you know what? Philip has a point. Then I was like, yo, why y'all acting like that? And then by the end of it, I was like, Philip, you ain't ish. Why you talk to Brian like that? Why did you talk to Brian? Because Brian been through some mess, you know? Listen, Philip, listen, Shirley says Philip is nobody's damn daddy. He doesn't know how to talk to people. I agree. Philip does not know how to talk to people. But on the other hand, why is it so hard for them to give the basic respect? Would you be managing people that literally can't? And that was that crafty Aquarius Cendrika. She literally put, you know, like in war, in what was it, the First or the Second World War, right? The Germans were, I'm going something real fierce. Cendrika reminds me from the Germans of the Second World War in the fact that whenever they had to retreat, right? They wouldn't just retreat on their way of retreating, when they knew that forces were pushing them back, the unified forces were pushing them back, they didn't just retreat. On their way out, they would burn the fields, they would poison the well, they would make it that whatever ground they conceded, the enemy, even if they got it, or the good guys, they were the enemy, even if the good guys took over that land was unusable. It couldn't be used to the crops, you couldn't eat food, you couldn't drink the water. It was barren land. And that's what the Germans did every single time that they had to retreat. That's what Chandrika did with Philip. Philip came in on 100 on her. And when she had that little get together and was telling everybody about Philip, she literally poisoned everybody's mind against Philip. And that's why when Torin came in and when Brian came in, they came in on 100. And Philip, he's fine to take it to 1,000. He goes 0 to 100. So Chandrika kind of did poison the well for them. But one could argue maybe Philip should have learned a way to talk to Chandrika instead of humiliating her in front of everyone. But again, it just goes like this. When new management, I've never tested new management like that whenever I had to work under someone. No, I'm not saying I never tested them, but usually the first week I was trying to be respectful and go along and get along. I don't know. So anyway, Judgy, what's up, Judgy? And what's up, J. Marie? What did y'all think?
Hi.
Hey. So I honestly, the whole management piece with Philip, I think is very harsh, honestly. It's clear. I think really it needs to be another staff meeting to rehash out expectations, because clearly Kandi and Todd did not set those out. And then they also keep mentioning that they don't have to listen to Philip because he's replaceable. He's the 11th manager. He's the 12th manager. And I keep hearing it throughout the episode. So they don't see his authority. They're like, you're not going to be here. I'll just go talk to Kandi about my concern. And then the fact that Kandi at the swim thing, at the exercise, she was then talking in front of her 2 employees about the manager and that they're going to have a conversation with him. That shouldn't have been going on either.
Completely agree with you.
So it really needs to redesign the organizational structure of it all. So Kandi and Todd are at the top, and then Wandon is right there, and then it's him, and then they can't go past Philip. If it should be automatic redirection back down to Philip. Philip's there, he's the one handling it. Go talk to Philip or Brandon, and that should be that.
Exactly. And the fact that Philip doesn't even have the authorities to suspend and fire, then it's like, how are you even my boss? Because if you can't suspend me or fire me, I'll just keep going to down one. Now, J. Marie, what did you think of everything?
Hi, Tisa, for the first time. Hi, everyone. Okay. What I thought was that Philip, I thought he was a necessary evil almost. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not evil, but because he needed they need some direction. I mean, when you have no organization, there's chaos. So I feel like they need someone like him to give some direction. I mean, because they were sort of, I don't know if Kandi just wants, hey, that's another ghetto restaurant down in the ATL, you know, and then, because I went to ATL for the first time back in October. I've never had visited, and I really had no desire to go. And when I went, I wanted to go to, I said, oh yeah, I want to go to Candy's. I want to go to the Lanithias. I want to visit especially like when I met you back in September. Look, I met you. I didn't really meet you, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I met you at a very rough time in my life, and you actually, Tisa, I'm going to say this. I digress for a second. You really helped me get through a very, very rough time in my life because I listened to you all winter. And that's why I was like, and it was like, hey, my mom's not home, kind of thing. And like, I mean, you're not old enough to be my mom, by no means. But I'm just saying, like, I would look for you. I would look forward to your excitement and your upward, because I needed it because I had lost my aunt, my mother's sister, and then 2 weeks later, my niece. I lost my niece succumbed to COVID, and I was so sad because we were only 3 years apart. I mean, my niece is. I was a late bloomer, and I'm from the Caribbean, I'm from Jamaica, and I'm like, look, I just couldn't handle it. I was going through a rough time, and you actually put a smile on my face and made me come up
Oh,
out of it for a little while. And so I was so glad because I felt like I met someone who was after my own heart, who knows how to, you know how to be fun, you know how to be laughable, and you know how to be you're very intelligent. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm all those things too, but I'm just saying
of
like
course you are, girl. Don't
um,
sell yourself short. You're all
I,
those things and more. Do not sell yourself short.
yeah,
Stop
I
it.
just feel like you had so much in common with me in your views. Because sometimes I'm like, no, I totally disagree with the people who are presenting the idea or presenting their opinions, and just because it's their show, you can't go against them. So you really helped me out through the winter months, and plus I hate winter here where
Yeah.
I'm at in the Midwest. I hate it, and you helped me so much. But getting
Oh,
back to
thank you so much, J. Marie.
you,
I'm glad
you,
that you're doing better.
yeah, I am. I'm back to work and stuff, and with my non-middle class self.
Stop it. Listen, we'll
No,
talk offline
I'm
about
just
that.
saying,
DM me.
no, I
DM
work
me.
for a major, corporation, but you're right. I'm not rich, but I certainly can do anything I want to do. I'm a comfortable person, and hey, I was enjoying you a whole lot, and I
Listen,
I like your
definitely.
spirit.
Make sure that you DM me on Instagram so we can follow each other and actually stay in touch. Definitely. And I'm
Yeah,
glad you're doing so much better. But what did you I wanted to ask you though, right? Because we seem like to have like a same way of thinking. What did you
yeah.
think of the Philip Don Juan thing? And what did you think about Brian
Okay,
and his
I
story?
thought, okay. Philip, I can understand his professionalism. He wanted to come in. He wanted to get things like he didn't want people to confuse. He didn't want people to think he was a big softy. It was like a dynamic I saw in him. He had like that three. It's like a three-edged sword with him. He didn't want people to think, oh, because I'm gay, I don't want people to think I'm soft, and I don't want people to disrespect me. They need some discipline in here. I have a job to do. I'm
Mhm.
professional. I just felt like he felt like he has a position to fill, and he wants to do it. And he has some regular schmegular people who's like, you're the boss. I'll eat you alive with my street mentality or whatever. But I like him, but he's going to have to be more relatable for them to, you can't come in and be like, I'm the boss and you're not. You can, but that doesn't mean people are going to like to work for you.
But I
You
want
know,
to ask you guys, definitely, but I want to ask you guys a question. And Shirley, let me know what
Yes.
you think, and then we'll go to Judge Justice and Jay Marie. The fact
Okay.
that Philip is literally the 10th, I'm sorry, the 11th manager, at what point do we look and be like, okay, these people are not manageable? So if 10 managers could not manage them,
right.
at what point are you like, okay, so what's going on? It'd be different
Well,
if the staff were running a tight shift. Then it's
Yeah.
just like, listen, whatever. But the fact that we actually need a manager, it's kind of like something has to change in that dynamic with the staff. So to me, as much as Philip is ignorant, and would I work with somebody that's talking to me like that? Absolutely not. But what do you do
No.
from a business standpoint where it's like the only thing consistent is the staff and y'all
Yeah.
not
Well,
doing your job?
well, my
Candy, Candy doesn't want. She wants to be liked. By sometimes you can't be liked and be the boss. I mean, sometimes the boss has to do boss things. I mean, like,
Mhm.
hey, you don't do that, and it's like she doesn't want to do it, so she'll hire someone who
I
who will
just
do the dirty work so her hands will stay clean. And I'm like, look, Candy, I understand what you're doing, okay? And this guy, I think he's good for the business. I
Uh-huh.
really do. If she allows him to have, and then I think it's like a little give and take. He has to come down a little bit, and he has, and she has to allow him to discipline these.
oh no.
These type of people, I mean, they're not used to being professional. I mean, it's everything is sort of I'm in the hood, you in the hood now,
You in
May
the
I
hood,
say
yeah, baby.
something? May I
you
say
know,
something?
Uh, Go on,
it's
Shirley. No, before you
listen,
say anything, let
check
Yana.
it out. I go to this chicken place, right? Popeye's chicken.
Oh,
They got great chicken and stuff. And so you pull up and you go, remember, can I take your order? And then, yeah, I would like, 2-piece white.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we only got thighs and legs. Well, that's not why.
Okay.
Okay.
I
You
see
know,
what
May
you're
I
saying
say
with that.
something?
Well,
May I
hold on,
say
really.
something?
Go on, Shirley.
So I think he is a bit too much, and he reminds me of a lot of managers, regardless if it's restaurants or Target or whatnot. You're too caught up in your position. You want to
yeah,
be like powerful, and you got to respect me. You have to respect people. If you're going to be a leader of people, you have to relate to people. Now, I'm not
yeah,
saying that staff there's there's always improvement, but
I agree. I
but
totally agree. That's
I'm
why I
just
say,
saying, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to state my opinion. But I think he is too harsh. He's acting as if he's in the military, or he's talking to children. I don't even like the word discipline when it's in a work environment with adults.
yeah,
So I just think he's a bit much, and I think he's probably been hyped up by Todd, maybe even Kandi and Don Juan, because I watched the speak on it with Philip, and
Yeah.
he said at the end, he said this to Don Juan. He said, "Normally, I'm doing what you told me to do." So he's taking orders from Don Juan because Don Juan sees some stuff and he wants Philip to take care of it.
But
yes,
here's
that's
the
what,
thing. Well, let me just interrupt you guys because Leona makes a good point. She says Philip is out of pocket. Director of operations does not manage the employees. Go get that generator and plumber. Make sure the books are straight. He's over. Listen, I think that when they said director of operations, they meant him to be a general manager, and then Brandon. Like, I feel like they got the titles mixed up. But I will say this though. Do you think that the staff would have reacted any more differently if Philip had, when Chandrika got smart with them, been like, okay,
I
guys,
do.
hold on,
I do.
well, hold on, and finish the meeting, and then pull Chandrika aside and be like, Chandrika, I want to talk about what happened. I am new here. Is there a reason you did this? Let her explain herself and be like, okay, but I need to let you know that was very unprofessional. It set a bad example for your employees. I look at you as perhaps being in a future leadership role, and that was very disrespectful and disappointing. Why don't you take the rest of the day off, and then tomorrow, when we cool down, we can have a talk about how we can better approach when we talk to each other in front of a group. Do you think that if she had talked to each person individually like that with Brian, hey, Brian, can I talk to you for a second? Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but you've seen it. Why don't you take a few days off and think about what's going on? And when you're in a calmer state, we can sit back and talk about how you are going to structure things so that you can get back on the schedule. Do you think that they would have had any
I
different
do.
reaction?
I
don't agree.
It's all about respect. He didn't come in there with respect. He's coming in there like, oh, this restaurant, it's just not the staff. It's the whole overall management. You see the sink. They're getting they're getting citations because of
That sink.
health. I
Think it's
mean,
super gross.
so
I
it's
think
all about
overall,
respect. If you
I,
treat people with respect, they're gonna come back with you.
I think that
I think that an overall thing like
Wait, hold on, you
respect.
guys. Hold on. I just don't want everybody talking over each other. So
yeah,
we'll go. We just finished Shirley, then we'll go Judgy, then we'll go Jay Marie, then Shirley
hmm
again. And also, if anybody else would like to call in, there's the call in link because I want to hear what you guys have to say. This episode had so much in it. It had like 4 different plot lines. But go on, Judgy. What were you saying?
I think overall, I think that when you're talking about your workplace, you have to take some emotion out of it. I think that these people are too emotional, too invested into these inner relationships, and it's not professional. because one thing I've learned over the years is that even though, I can have sympathy and empathy with a person for a while, but at the end of the day, I have a job to do. I can't, even though I like you, me and you may hang out. If you do something wrong, I can't just not say anything to the boss if it's something that's going to affect everything. And I think that's the thing that people don't realize is that line. And overall, Philip's job is to, I know they're saying director of operations, but operations is a very vague term. That's the day-to-day of the business. So that includes the people that includes customers and the facilities and everything like that, and whatever else the CEO and her officers would like you to do. So I think that's another reason why we keep seeing him get into stuff and out of stuff. And then he's also taking over for what Brandon should be doing, because honestly, Brandon should be having these conversations and then pulling in, Philip, if he needs some extra support. That's what it should be going. So, and also I don't see why Dom didn't get written up, because she was an hour late.
Well, because Brad, you know why she didn't get written up. But let me ask you a question though. Do you think that Philip can institute these changes while he doesn't have the power to even suspend somebody without Don Juan, Kandi, or Todd signing off on it?
No, I think it's honestly everybody should be put on notice and then, be cut off, because there's plenty of people that might want to work there, especially after now it's on national TV. People would like a shot. So he's going to be able to find people more easily now. I don't think Sean Draker should be working there. I don't think Brian should be working there. I think Dom should go ahead and pursue her other passions if it's going to impede on your work schedule. I think Brandon, with his creep squad, chief in charge self, needs to go ahead and find something else to do. No, it's creepy. It's creepy that you start working somewhere because of a woman. That's creepy. And you're following her and you're sitting. That's creepy. I would freak out if I found out that a guy who I fed one day at work now is going to be my boss, and he keeps hanging out around me and sitting at the bar watching me all day. Yeah, I would be creeped out.
Listen, that's how I met most of my boyfriends. I don't know, maybe I just attract stalkers, but when a guy likes you, ask the guy you're with, your husband, the first time he actually saw you, right? I bet you it's at least weeks before you actually even notice them. Guys will waver. When we're young, they'll come right up and be like, hey, you look pretty. But I don't know. I think it's normal for a guy, if they like you, that's the thing. When a man likes you, they will pretend they are an airplane pilot to be like, oh yeah, I can fly you to the Bahamas. I think they do crazy things. Listen, Dr. J1913. You said, nope. Kandi needs to be a boss lady. I'm COO. I'm the buffer between the CEO and CFO. I'm not there to be your friend. I actually do believe that Kandi is the boss of this. Here's my thing with Kandi and Todd. They're acting like the way bosses do. Bosses just stop in and be like, hey, y'all, what's going on? Because they want to be still connected to the staff and to the managers. You never want to be more connected to one to the other, because it's checks and balances. Sometimes managers trip, sometimes staff's the problem. My thing is, from outside looking in, it might benefit them to be more hands-off with Philip. Let him do what he's going to do for a month and then see if you see results, instead of kind of watching him from day one. What are you doing? Just let him, give him 3 weeks time, because when people can make a turnaround, it only take 2 weeks for people to start coming in on time, start doing this, start doing that. The fact that Brandon sat there and ate a sandwich while that sink was stopped up, it's just Brandon, what in the world? Ow! And a camera was there. If I was Kandi, I would have been so mad at Brandon. It's if I let you come over to my house to tape and you got my room door wide open, I haven't cleaned my room in 3 weeks. It's girl, what are you doing? Shut my room door.
May I add something?
Yeah, go on.
So with that whole situation with Brian getting suspended, Brandon had an issue because when he told him to get up. Now, he did get up, but he was joking. That's his personality. Brandon knows that, but he took some type of issue with it. And then he brought it to Philip. And so now they bring Brian at the table. And I mean, it was just like a pile up. And it shouldn't have been that way. First of all, you're letting your girlfriend come in 2 hours late. You are eating at the counter or at the bar. I don't believe in that. Oh, I'm management and you're not. No, if we're gonna have a standard, we need to have a standard across the board. You're supposed to be an
Yes.
example.
I agree with that. Iffy, why don't you jump in?
Hey, Tisa.
Hey,
You look so
sweetie, how
pretty
are you?
tonight.
Long time no hear. How are you?
I'm good. I've been busy, busy, busy. Yeah. So I first of all, I love this show. Um, it really tells a lot. Uh, for Candy, I think this is a great thing that she's doing,
Hmm.
exposing people to ordinary people to the life that she's living. And that we can't take that away from her. She's a boss lady and she's always got my heart. Um, but with Philip, um, I think I understand why he has to come in the way he's coming in. He has to come in strong. That place is a
Hmm.
mess. If everyone who says Philip is doing too much should think about what they will do if you were a customer and you went to the back and you see a kitchen like that, you will never, no matter how good the food tastes, you will never go back there. Neither would you ever ask any one of your friends or your family members. I'll be the first person on Twitter and I'll be like, don't go there. It's dirty. It's crazy. Because I'm very, very finicky about where I eat. And that state was disgusting.
Yes.
So Brandon should not be dating um what's her name, Dom. I love Dom, by the way. She's a hard worker. And I think Brian is a hard worker. But he's been too the atmosphere. First of all, they don't have any culture in that place. They don't have anything that they stand for. As big as Kandi is with celebrity friends, you should make sure that your restaurant is top notch. Anybody who gets in there should be you should get the service that you would expect at a white restaurant, like a five-star restaurant. You should expect. I don't believe that because you serve maybe lower, maybe not because let me just because you serve people of lower income bracket does not mean that the service should be any less than what it will be if you were serving people of high status. I
Well, here's the
expect the
thing.
same level of professionalism, no matter what it is.
But here's the thing, and I just got to say this. You
Mm.
mentioned, like, restaurants that aren't Black owned. Uh, You know, I have a lot of friends that have during college, during grad school, during all that stuff, right? Um, you work at bartending, you work at restaurants, you do all the stuff. I will say that the one thing, and you guys that worked at restaurants, please back me up on this. I think that Candy was brave for actually showing what actually goes on in a restaurant.
Oh yeah, she was.
I think regardless of whatever the price point is, even those five-star restaurants, a lot of the same stuff goes on in there. The only difference is the five-star restaurants have a protocol when the health inspector comes in because they're all professionals. Where, like when I was talking to Adam, I'll be going live with Adam at 12 o'clock tomorrow on his channel. Make sure you join us. But saying he worked at a very high-end restaurant, there was a button underneath the hostess desk that when the health inspector came in, because they have to identify themselves, they just can't walk back there. They would press that button and you would be like, oh shit, we got 5 minutes until this guy comes through the kitchen. I think a lot of restaurants do look like this when you pull the curtain.
The curtains.
They do. They do. Like there might be a sink stopped up. It happens. There might be this on the floor. There's this, there's this, there's this. Granted, you want everything to be like looking perfect, but restaurants do. Again, Candy's restaurant is not an anomaly. Does that mean there's no room for improvement? Absolutely not. And I do think that's going to be the story arc for the season. But by the end of it, they're going to be like
Right.
fried chicken and
Listen,
that.
Tisha.
Yeah, they're
Let me
going
tell.
to. But I
Let
do
me.
think a lot of restaurants that you see that are busy restaurants,
Yeah.
unless they are
I
a
agree.
five-star
I
restaurant that only has 10 seats in it, those Michelin star restaurants that maybe only have
um,
10 seats in the whole restaurant, a lot of them look like this and a run like this. And does anybody know that the hostess is late or that the bartender's late when you go to a restaurant? No, because there was a bar upstairs. You just know that you got your drink and your drink took a little bit longer to take. But you see what I'm saying? So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying, and you can relate when you're
hey,
cooking
D.
in your
Yeah,
own
go on.
house. Yeah, when you're cooking at home, it's not always 100% perfect. No matter how clean you are, there's gonna be sometimes when it's so cluttered, and then you have to do the cleanup after the fact. But the fact that they had staff lounging and just sitting around when there were things to be done, and one of the things about Dom, she has a very good work ethic, because when she came in, the first thing she did was what everybody else would have done. I'm a very finicky person. I like when you come in, just because you're the bartender doesn't mean you can't help in the kitchen or waitressing or waiting on people. When
Mhm.
you see that there is, and I think that's the spirit that Philip is trying to establish with them. You step in and cover the spaces that you see that is wherever you see a lack, you come in there and you help out. But other than that, they're doing a good job and they're of being very transparent. And my heart
Yeah,
went out to Brian. Yeah, I love that show, and I'm gonna be
right.
listening because I'm gonna sleep. I'm going to bed. But I love
Oh,
you,
thank you
Tisa.
for
You're
joining
so
us. You know
pretty.
what? And thank
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
so much for giving us your viewpoint
yeah.
because you made some very, very valid points about come on, like we need to implement order. Like there must
Right.
Yeah.
be order. Like,
Yes.
and I felt for Brian because I'm like, what do you do when your job is to implement order and nobody is taking you seriously? And you are the one that it's falling back on, and you're the one that might get fired. It's like there has to be order. It's just
Right.
the same that Brian doesn't respect Brandon, and Brandon low key doesn't respect Brian either, right? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
not Brian. Sorry, my
Um.
internet. Philip. Philip
Philip.
doesn't
Philip.
respect Brandon, and Brandon doesn't low key respect Philip either. So where if they could actually work as a team, it would be good because Brandon could take like basically soothe everybody over emotionally, right?
Mhm.
Philip could come in with the order, and then he could send Brandon to be like, now go manage their emotions when they're grumbling in the staff room, like, I gotta listen to him. Brandon can go manage
I'm
the
gonna.
emotions, and it could be
Can I
order.
quickly chip in something before I leave, Tisa? And everybody, I apologize. I'm not trying to use up your time. I'll get off after this. Like you said, Philip needs to be Candy needs to empower Philip so that the staff can respect him. And but he also has to Philip also has to take the time to personally know each and every one of them so he can understand where they come from, because as a manager, it's very important to know where your workers, where they're coming from. That gives you the humanness that makes them to respect you enough to want to work for you and do whatever it is that you say. But he already has what's her name? The lady at the front, Chandrika. She already did a very terrible job by going and spreading to everybody that he's rude, he's this and that,
Yeah,
and that's the reason why nobody's listening to him, because they trust her, Chandrika, because they've worked with her. So it's all about miscommunication, and they need to pull it together and um so
I
that
agree.
they can go forward. Thank you so much, guys.
Oh,
Thank you,
thank you so
everybody.
much.
Thank you.
Sweet
Have a
dreams,
good
sweet
night.
dreams.
Yeah.
You
Bye.
Good
too.
night. Now,
And
Tisa,
everybody,
if I may interject,
just really quick,
I
Lil, I just want to
like.
say really quick
Okay.
before you do, I just want to say
Okay.
everybody say hi to B. She's come in the chat. Hey, Bia, what's going
Hey,
on?
baby.
B's here. Hey, what's up? Okay, go on. I'm sorry, J. Marie. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was just saying that's why I said Philip was a necessary evil. I mean, he's there and he definitely has the right idea. His approach may need some finessing. His people skills and how he handles that because everyone is not militant. You can't everybody's not a yes sir type of person, so you may need to know how to finesse everyone's personality, and it's easier to get people to do what you want to with honey than with lemon juice. You know what I'm saying? Than being, I mean, I understand there are rules to be followed. Hey, do what you have to do, because Kandi and Todd, they do need some discipline within their restaurant, because they have employees who are, they don't respect, they look at it as a job, not a career.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's your job, you're going to say, hey, I'm just doing this until I can do that. But if you looking at it, some people, like, I would say, and I hate to say this, like people who are from other countries and stuff, it doesn't matter. They'll come over and they'll do their best at whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna do my all. I'm gonna do my best until I can move forward. And but in this, like she was complaining, I only get $12. Well, you know what? Well, if you only make $12, then that's not anyone else's fault. I mean, you could have taken a different route in life and made more money, but you chose this route. So, or if this is the road that you chose, or the path that you chose, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not for you to get on national TV and say, I only get $12.
Why
And
isn't it?
so,
Why
you
isn't
know,
it? That's her
Well, here's
reality.
the thing. Evid Health, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. See, here's the thing, right? And let's look at some of these comments, right? Kandi wanted everybody to be transparent. She wanted everybody to be transparent. So
yeah.
at this point where she wants everybody to be transparent, I mean, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Now, I would say, right? Like, who said this? Angela Jordan said, like Mama George said, you can't restart a lesson by you got to do, let's see, you can't restart a lesson by you got to go do getting smart at the mouth. Oh, you can't get smart at the mouth with the manager. Come on now, that's not very professional. Allow what you allow. If you do that, that they will allow everything on the job. I agree, but the thing is, because
he's pretty smart with them as well.
He got smart, but the whole thing is, it's like what set it off was, and again, let's not forget we're watching a reality TV show. So maybe they already came in knowing that Philip goes to 100. They walked in like, you're not playing me. No, let me just tell you what it was. And Philip was like, oh, I'll tell you what it was, right? And then listen, Brian, what did you guys think of Brian's story? I thought Brian's story was so riveting and so
Oh my God.
thing. You know what I'm saying?
And am I the only one that saw that Brian was like going beyond what he was comfortable doing? He has a drinking problem, and he was doing that. And I saw him working up, and what they showed, he was working, and it was just because Brandon's little ego got bruised when he was joking with him, and then that's what led all this to. I mean, managers, you really need to learn how to respect people. And I remember, didn't Philip say last week, he's not going to let somebody who's an hourly employee say something to him? You don't treat your workers like that. That's why they don't like you and respect you.
You don't listen. You're right. Philip said a lot of stuff. You know what? Yes, Philip said a lot of ignorant stuff. But my question to the staff is, why don't they want to do better? Because I'd be like, listen, we can all get money together, because when this place is popping off, y'all are going to be making money hand over foot. Don't worry about that $12 an hour. Chandrika, if you work out, we're going to fight by the end of the month. Exactly. We'll all share part of this. We'll do this. We'll do this.
Kandi's not sharing no profits. She barely paying those people.
She is
sharing. She hired all her family. Like, she hired people, and she's bringing people back in. She's having people work on other projects with other parts of her business. She's sharing money. She wants. I think the thing is that to me, she's not really like people like trying to say that she's not a boss. I feel like she's a boss. I think her problem is that she's not trying to cut off people, like burn bridges with people, and let them go permanently. That's
you can't start from the top. You can't start from the top. I mean, unless you have some type of connections that put you in a certain position, a lot of times people start from the bottom and they work themselves up because they are ambitious people and they have goals and they're like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do my very best. I mean, I and if you don't like it, you can move forward or you can try to do something else. I mean, like in the past, I'll say, I'm just going to speak on my personal life if I can. And I'm going to say, like, times when I didn't like a job. Well, the job that, my supervisors or my superiors were like, well, you don't have to do the job, just go work somewhere else. And
True,
no one's,
true, but
no one.
That is true, but you still don't have to be disrespected.
because here's the thing, I've thought about that too, where I've worked for people where they're like, well, you can go work somewhere else. And I thought about it and I was like, that's when I said, I got a lot of respect for what Kandi's doing, because I'll be honest with you, at what point are we going to stop treating employees like they are enslaved? Like,
Yeah.
why do we look at it so foreign from the way we've either been treated or what we think that a manager got the right to just disrespect you and do whatever, and you got to suck it in order to get it? And that's when I said, you know what? I admire the fact that Kandi is like, well, hold on. Like, the workers got rights too. You just can't go too crazy.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm actually really, really grateful that that's actually going on. But listen, also I wanted to talk about a few other things that happened. What did you guys think about Chandrika and Patrick? Do you guys think that they're going to have another thing again? Do you guys think that there's some type, because even though Chandrika says that she's super happy, and even though Dom and Brandon, I think, I don't know what's going to go with them. They're both single. Maybe they'll get together, maybe not. I'm beginning to think maybe Dom has Brandon twist around her finger, and that's the way she can come in when she wants to come in and go where she wants to go. Chandrika and Patrick, I don't know. Do y'all think they're going to end up getting together by the end of the season?
No,
Absolutely not.
no.
Absolutely not.
They
No.
look, him and this girl, Chandrika and Safari, look a lot alike. I don't know. Every time they're in the scene, they're throwing each other looks, not looks like they want each other, but looks like I can't stand you. But to me, I'm like, why y'all so mad at each other? Why there's still all this animosity? And the fact that Chandrika's boyfriend or fiance got into some type of dust up with Patrick. Y'all don't think, what's y'all think in the comments?
I think they may have a hookup, like a little hookup, but I don't think it's going to be anything serious. It's not going to be like, oh, you are the one I always wanted. No, I don't think it's one of those love stories. I mean, even if they do hook up for a day just to test it out. So, because, sometimes you just want to test out something, and like, yeah, sometimes you go like, I wish I wouldn't have did that, but
I
it's
think
like,
also how the producers are cutting the scenes, making it look like they're looking at each other, making faces. I really think they both are happy in their own relationships, and that's it.
Well,
I think they'll get. Look, Tisa, I think they'll like have a scene where they're all drinking and getting drunk and stuff. You know how people try to blame it on alcohol, get all drunk and say, I didn't do that. Who did that? No, you're going to do it because you wanted to do it anyway. And you're going to blame it on alcohol and say you don't remember. You are going to do it. I mean, and then you're going to say, well, the alcohol took over me. And then, yeah, I think they'll test the water, but I don't think it's going to go beyond that. It's just like a curiosity, especially.
I don't know. Timilia says there's something there, but I'm not sure what. And Jim Drop says, isn't Patrick gay?
Curiosity is gay.
Patrick got Safari. That's his long-term girlfriend. Patrick is like, he loves the ladies. He's a ladies' man. Maybe you're confusing him with Torn, or you're confusing him with Philip, right? But
I'm gonna log off there, but you guys.
Philip is the gay guy with the guy from the Dominican Republic, right? Philip is the manager.
Yeah, he got a Brazilian boyfriend. That's
Brazilian boyfriend. So he's not interested in women, right? He's more interested.
Exactly.
So I mean, but at the same time, Atlanta is kind of different than any place I've ever been. I mean, I've like, okay, and I haven't been, I'm not a traveler. I'm just sort of a worker. I'm one of them low class, um, working people that work hard and think
If you
they're
don't stop
look,
putting yourself down, girl, but
I'm on the high end of the low class.
stop
I'm
it.
barely over $100,000 a year, people. So I'm comfortable because I started working young, and then I had a different upbringing. I started young, working, and my house is paid for, so $100,000 is fine for me. I can do whatever I want to do. My kids, I don't. I have two kids. They're grown. I just have me. So $100,000 can get me anywhere I want to go. Now, if I want to trick it off at turn tricks or whatever, have fun, I can do anyone I want to. If you said, Joyce, let's go to Calhoun. I mean, I don't know where Calhoun. I don't even know if it's a place called Calhoun. Where Cal? Anyway, if you said meet me up there, I can do that. I can do what I want to do because it's only me.
Got
And
you.
my, and my house is paid for it. I can do what I want to do. So I'm comfortable. But there, I understand, like but I was raised with a different culture.
But
You
listen,
know,
really quick, you guys, listen, and also listen, Jay Marie, make sure, because I'm going to drop the call in link and get a few more people up here. But Jay Marie, please make sure you reach out to me on Instagram so we can actually become buddies. Thank you so much for
I
calling
think,
in.
yeah.
Thank you so much for calling in. And also I wanted to I'm just gonna clear this up for a few more people can come in because I just want to get through this recap.
Okay.
Okay. And then when you guys are ready to
And
call
I
in,
love you, Tisa. You really did get me for my
Jay Marie,
holiday.
make sure
And
you
I
message
feel,
me
and
so
I
we can follow each other.
I'm going to reach out to you, and
Okay.
and I'll tell you my whole story, and then we'll be able to share. But you are the greatest. I don't care. There are people who have been on here for 6, 7 years, and they haven't touched me the way you have. So I
Okay.
think you're great. You're not just beautiful on the outside; you're beautiful on the
Oh,
inside.
thank you so much,
And
Jay
I
Marie.
love your channel.
Thank you
Okay.
so much, Mama. All right.
Okay.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Thank
All
you, Jay
right.
Marie, so much. So listen, I want to read some of your comments because Princess Di was saying when it comes to Patrick and when it comes to Chandrika and Patrick, they already slept together. They're not going to sleep together again. They're both in relationships. There's just animosity that Patrick didn't want a committed relationship with Chandrika. I agree with that, but then why when Chandrika came in looking so pretty with her little side pony, why was Patrick like trying to like take little sneak and we're wearing that orange blouse, dress, whatever? Patrick was trying to look for the corner, trying to see, right? And Chandrika knew that. That's why she went and sat right in front of him, like, yes, look upon thee. And then she went and sat by her boyfriend, right? So there was that, right? There's also, like, again, who wants everybody talk about Patrick got a boyfriend or he's bi? Patrick is a lover boy. That's what everybody was saying. I don't know where that came from. Patrick, nope. I mean, again, I don't know what Patrick is. There's nothing wrong with being that. But I think Patrick actually is strictly for the ladies, just like Brandon is strictly for the ladies, right? Listen. So listen, and we got what else? Both of them play for both T's and ATL. You got to keep your eyes and ears to the ground. Maybe that's true, but everybody, the streets are saying that you don't got to keep that eyes and ears when it comes to Patrick. Now, get this, right? I still am very, very, very touched by Brian's story about the way he basically had a drug problem. He basically had an alcohol where he was drinking a liter of vodka, and then his sister unfortunately passed away, and that was his wake-up call. I remember last episode he was talking about he was rocking back and forth talking to God for 5 or 6 hours, right? Basically probably had a nervous breakdown, and whatever he found in himself, whether it was God, whether it was other, it really touched him and it brought him back in down, and he's been sober ever since. But he's only been sober for 3 months, and he's super, super fragile. And that's why I'm like, Brandon talks about he has an emotional connection with his employees, but that's when I was like, do you really know What's going on? Or are you just using that as an excuse so you don't have to be firm with them? Because if you knew that Brandon's sister just passed away 3 months ago and he's only been sober for 3 months, why would you tell him to get behind that bar? And why would you dump all that responsibility on him? You feel what I'm saying? It just seemed like, okay, Brandon, what's going on? Are you the emotional person? Right? I just didn't understand what was going on. Brian did have me in tears. He is literally, they said Kandi needs to call Mark Daly, Kenya's ex, to help her get LLG together. Have y'all been to SoCo in Brooklyn? Because no. If Kandi called Mark Daly to get OLG in, I'd be like, no, Kandi, wrong road. I've been to SoCo. No, right? You said Patrick acts a little slow. I don't think Patrick acts a little slow. To me, Patrick acts like the baby of the family. He is the baby of the family. Everybody babies him. And that's what's more, they baby him not because they don't think he's capable. They baby him because they love him. So I think that sometimes the baby of the families, right? Oh, thank you, Nerva. Thank you for the super chat. You said you're who I aspire to be when I grow up. Keep it coming, girl. Y'all be capping me up, and I love it. Like, read these comments to my boyfriend. Tisa, girl, you're my boyfriend can hit me in the head with a pillow. Like, man, go to sleep. So listen, let's see. Yes, also they said, listen, Val told Marie, baby, go to Cancun. You deserve it. Just know that those cartels be kind of moody. Those cartels ain't paying anybody any mind, please. They be having the police strolling up the boardwalk with like AKA semi-assault rifles and Israeli assault rifles. You'll be cool. Just don't go into any trouble, right? Now get this. Where were we, right? Oh, the comments, right? I think he already knows what type of time she's on and was like, But here's the thing. He likes the fact that Chandrika is opinionated and that she's a boss. Now, can I give an unpopular opinion? I think the one thing that he really, really likes about Safari is a grown woman and she got her own. Now, Patrick's not a bum. I'm not saying he's trying to live off a woman, but I can see for Patrick, the way he presents himself to me, the fact that she even has her own business and she's a boss, where Chandrika is still a hostess. And Chandrika's going to get where she wants to go. I don't remember what she actually aspires to be, but Chandrika's going to get where she wants to go, but she's not owning her own business yet. So in that case, Patrick would have to be the main breadwinner, where now with him and Safari, they feel like they both like bring something to the table and they're building together. And I feel Patrick wants a woman that can build together. You feel what I'm saying? Now, Brian, I agree. Brian had me in tears too. That was it's such emotional stuff. And I wish they had delved a little deeper into that earlier. Like when they were doing the tug and pull and this and that, I get because you want to show that side of his personality, but I wish they would have introduced Brian with this story from the bat, because it was just like, wait, what? Like literally when he was telling the story, I was like looking for like my little juicy cup, like, yeah, this and that, and then I heard and I was like, oh my God, like what? Like I just couldn't believe it. So it's something, again, Malia said, my heart went out to Brian. He's so brave for sharing this story. He is 100 brave for sharing this story, right? Everybody loves Brian. Brian is a cloud pleaser. He's a sweetheart, but also, and this is where I feel like Brandon and Philip, they didn't know it, but that's what made me get like, y'all ain't ish, because Brian's been through so much so soon, and it's still so new, that his ego and his sense of self is wrapped up into coming back to OLG and doing the best job he can. And the fact that Brian, they took that away from him, I thought that was really, really cruel. I know he was talking back. I know this, I know that. But at the end of the day, it's like this job means something to him, and performing it well means something to him. And it's part of his ego. And it's part of the reason why he doesn't come home and drink. And he gets up and puts one foot forward. And it's part of his sobriety. And I thought that was very cruel of them to take that away from him. Philip didn't know, right? But Brandon, did you know? Do you care? And that's what made me think, even though Brandon is pursuing Dom and he's whining and dining her and this and that, I was like, something ain't matching up. Because are you a nice guy with a heart of gold, or are you just running game on Dominique because you want to hit that and you really like her? But at the end of the day, you're not as caring or sensitive as you put on. That's the only thing that made me wonder what was going on. You know, I love Torn and Brian's friendship. I love when Brian, I don't know how I feel if like a close friend of mine told me that they were going to hurt themselves. And I've been there in the past and I didn't know what to say besides, no, don't do that. And blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, the things that you say. But I did think it was beautiful that Brian actually said, just to let you know. And I wish I could have found those words, because I was like, those are perfect words to find, where he was like, just know I love you and I need you here. And I'm here with, like, however he said it, it already went out my head. But I thought those were perfect words to say to somebody that's hurting. And even when I had somebody that was hurting, I couldn't think of those words. I was saying other stuff, but how powerful would it have been just to tell someone, like, just know, like, I love you and you're wanted here. And if something, I will miss you truly. So just stay here with me. Like, you know, I don't know. I thought Brian and Torrin, they have been through a lot and they have a truly beautiful relationship. And that's the type of energy I've never actually seen in real life, when two people actually dated and they had that still type of love and respect and friendship for each other. Do you know what I'm saying? I thought that was actually really cool. Yeah, exactly. Right. Who said this? I agree. They took that away from him and believe he actually needs to be at work because it helps him. I agree too. I agree with that. You know, Judgy said, yeah, he's running game. Again, when I saw that, I said, is Brandon running game? Because it seems like he's running game, because something ain't adding up. You know, this man just got sober. You know this, you know that. Unless you're running game and you don't really pay attention to people, because that didn't make any sense, right? Now, here's the thing. Philip needs to learn conflict resolution. He needs to understand that he's talking to grown folks. He has to give respect in order to receive it. I agree. Philip is too aggressive. But since he has to prove early on that he's going to whip this ship into place, I think he came out the gate because he was just like, if I tell you it's A, and they were just like, well, why is it A? And he's like, what you mean, why is A? And they were just like, we're not doing this today. Philip was on some other mess, right? He's going through it. He's so snappy. They need to check him with the managers. Okay, listen. Yes, I like the friendship too. I've actually never seen it play out. Two people that actually were romantically involved, that had that level of love for each other. That, you know, everybody's like, oh, we'll be friends, but y'all not really friends. Y'all just keeping it cordial and not starting war. And, you know, if you're at the same party, you're like, hey, you look great. Right? They actually seem like they got love. Like they didn't just date. That is his family for life and vice versa. Right? I just love it. Listen, Judgy Justice said, if we're talking to grown people, then grown people need to stop crying about their egos and get to the money. I agree about that. That's where the money resides. I don't understand that. It's like the sooner this restaurant does better, the sooner I'll get to my money. So I'm going to do what I can. Again, Brandon wasn't calling the plumber, but then I thought, what, Brandon, maybe he's just not a good manager, because honestly, why didn't you just literally I would have just told Chandrika, Google plumbers, Yelp it, Angie's List, whatever it is. If I didn't feel like doing it, I would have told one of the employees, find me a local plumber, and when you get the number, call them and schedule them to come out. So even with Brandon, it's like, Brandon, you can delegate these tasks. I know Chandrika is the hostess, and I know Brian's the waiter, but not Brian, because he's the waiter, but if Chandrika got time to sit there and talk to me, girl, Google. And the thing is, I think if Brandon had asked her to Google a plumber, Chandrika would have did it. And she would have scheduled it to come in. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why it's like, Brandon, what is going on? Like, what is your position? Y'all talking about Brandon's not ready to be general manager. I don't know. I don't know. Again, this made me look at Brandon and be like, Brandon, are you running game on Dom now that you're saying that you became manager because you were just so in love with her and this and that? Or is that just some game you're running so you can get in there real quick when you really became manager to be a manager, you know? Yes, Brian, get a sponsor. You don't think Brian has a safe you think he's doing what do you call it, sobriety on his own? Can people do sobriety? I guess you can do anything on your own, right? Let's see who else says some comments. Sneak Up said, Philip needs to learn how to talk to people. Yes, he does. Facts to Judgy Justice. Nervous said he came in guns blazing out the gate. He did. It's very unfortunate, but you know what the funny thing is? Had he come with guns blazing out of the gate, and Kandi, Todd, and Don Juan had given him the power, because that's what my first question. Can I fire anybody I don't like? Yes or no? Because if I can fire whoever is not getting along with me, it's a whole different ball field between the people that aren't getting along with me and the people. You know what I'm saying? If I know that I can't fire you, then I would come in with I would come in kicking the door y'all gotta listen to me. You know, that's if I'm fired everyone. But if I know I can't change anything, that's when I'm like, hello, everybody. I'd like to welcome you. Please, please, please help yourself to the staff meal. So I'd like to welcome you. My name is Tisa. I'm going to be your manager. I want to take time one-on-one to get to know everybody one-on-one. Because now I know I got to manage your personalities instead of kicking the door, waving the 4-4. It's like Philip, pick your battles, you know? Listen, Philip would do well as a commissioned officer in the military. Philip is major pain. Miss Keita said, Brandon is a terrible manager. Listen, Judgy Justice said, why don't they have an on-call plumbing company? I don't know. Maybe that's not, listen, I don't know. I just know that it only takes a second to call a plumber. That's why I don't understand that when it came to, what's his name, why eating his sandwich was a priority over calling a plumber. It's like I eat sandwiches all the time and be Googling stuff on my phone. So why can't you eat your sandwich and then in your other hand be looking for a plumber? That's it. All you gotta do is Yelp, Google Map, go by star rating. That's it. That's it. Matter of fact, you can call the manager at Blaze, which is a good point, Judgy. You can call the manager at Blaze. You can call the manager at the other old lady gangs and be like, yo, do y'all know a plumber? And they will give you the name. I'm sure Kandi does have an on-call plumber. So again, why? Listen, there's 319 people in the chat. Hit that like button for your girl, okay? Philip is on 10. Let's bring back Judgy Justice and also Antonio Rochelle.
Hey,
whose thing is that?
It's the other person. I didn't catch
your
your
name.
name.
Do me a favor and turn your volume down. Playback. Okay, so Judgy, what were you saying? So here's it. Ann Jones says Brandon is a lazy manager. Tawanda said Brandon is not a good manager. And Nervous said, let's get to the shmoney. I know that's right. Me and Nerva would have been high-fiving like, we about to get this money. Put some, I don't know. Put some Saucy Santana material, girl. I want Chanel. We would literally be getting to the money in that thing, right?
Where the money reside.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Brandon is not a good manager. But again, I also saw the way that Brandon got mad at Brian. Because Brian basically told him, I don't respect you. Get out of my face. So Brandon went and ran over to telling him to Philip. But then when Philip finally was like, yeah, that's unacceptable. Brandon then was like, oh, well, why are you being so mean? And I'm like, Brandon, pick a side. Like, what are you doing? You're the one that even made Brian an issue. Had you not made Brian an issue, we wouldn't be sitting there. And that's why Brandon was sitting there looking at him, because you wanted Brian to get in trouble, but then you didn't want to be that bad guy that was responsible. So you pushed it all off on Philip. And I was like, yeah, this ain't going to work, Brandon. Like, you got it. Like, Philip's not afraid to be the bad guy. That's great. Now, Philip, let's work on you being the human guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but go on, Judgy. Why don't you jump in? What were you thinking?
So honestly, I feel that like Brandon is I think it was easier when he was a club manager, because that's what he mentioned during the show, because then you can be on your phone and you have bouncers and everything like that, and you're just like watching, you're just looking around for like red flags if they occur, and someone's going to come get you if they need. So he's not really like a person that just takes action to me. He's very not proactive. That's what I would say.
He's proactive.
And then I think that Philip should have, taken what he said it with a grain of salt and not taking that moment to then chop off Brian's head. Because I think that Brian, if he would have, I think Brian should have also told told Philip when Dom was late like that, and how he had like, all these different emotional things going on. Because I'm like, does anybody else know this? Does Juan Don knows this? Does Kandi knows this, that he went through that? Like, it's just like, I think that if we're going to be like emotional people and we're going to worry about people's emotional well-being, then like, where's that connection then for that? Because I
Exactly.
don't think that Juan Don would have even let them have the conversation if he had known that he just buried his sister 3 months ago.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with you. Now, a few people will actually say that, like, a few people will actually say that, oh, excuse me. Hold on a second. Antonio Rochelle, if you turn your volume down. Hello? Antonio? Hold on a second. Antonio Rochelle. Okay. So there's a little feedback issue. Okay, so Brandon wasn't ready to be a manager. I agree. I wonder if he was an actual real manager, if he was a plot line, right? To your point, who was it? SD said that restaurant should have a plumber on call. They should have contact for any services needed on flight. I believe they probably do. And if they don't, they can call Kandi's other 80 billion restaurants. Again, this goes to Brandon. He was like, it could wait. And then when Dom showed up, and the bar was dirty, and she's like, what is this? It's like, okay, Dom, but that's why they usually have bartenders come in an hour early to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
The person that closes the bar is supposed to clean it, and the person that opens the bar is supposed to clean it too. So either the night shift didn't clean it, the bartender that closed last night, or which was probably you, Dom. So it's kind of like, Dom, that's why you should have been there early, because you have to also clean up. You don't have bar backs that are going back there. Now, I listen. If they knew already, they've been over 10, they've already had 10 managers. What do you want for this man, Philip? I think that with Philip, he really triggers everybody as you are a boss that, he's the asshole boss everybody's had. He has a point, but it's the way he says it. And at the end of the day, the workers just don't want discipline. They just don't want discipline. So again, if I'm on my 11th manager, I would be looking at the staff like half of y'all aren't going to be there. Now, that said, this is a reality TV show. So I guess they're trying to see if they can actually work with the staff. But I am interested to say, because Kandi said this is going to be a lot of reality, I am interested to see in whether people actually get cut from this show. I'm just interested to see, a lot of y'all feel like Philip is a little bit too tough. I want to ask you guys though, right? What do you guys think of this? What did you guys think of this episode? And also, I want to know, are you guys referring your friends to see it? Are you guys having watch parties? Like, what is the deal with that? What do you think of this episode? What do you think's going on with it?
So for me, I really enjoyed it overall. I felt that it was enough going on. I think that it's a full story all the time when I'm watching it, because it's new people that I'm still learning about, and they're doing new things. It isn't just the same people like having little hush hush conversations here. It's like a nice big group. That's what I like for the cast overall. I thought it was an 8. I thought it was really enjoyable. Because we got a different side. We saw the different side of Philip. I think he, was crying big boy tears, in the car. Because, and also I didn't enjoy that part when he left, because talking about professionalism, and he left in the middle.
You did the exact same thing you got mad about, but I thought that was really interesting too, where it's like, Philip, you keep talking about respect, earn this, that. But Don Juan is 100% your senior. And Don Juan actually gave you some really good advice. Okay, fine. We got that out the way. But Philip, this is the third desktop and you've been here for 5 minutes. Like, what is going on? Like, you're going to have to find a way to deal with these people. And you knew about it. And he literally turned around and threw a temper tantrum, like Don Juan said, and ran to his car, right? You ran to your car, cried your tears, but you literally reacted the same way Chandrika reacted to you, and the same way Brian reacted to you. So it's funny that you couldn't even take your own advice and you hid in your car. Right now, he did get back up and say, let me go make things right with Don Juan. But this is the thing. Don Juan, being the consummate professional he is, right? And Don Juan knows how to talk to people and get his point across without disrespecting anyone. He actually has amazing communication skills, right? From what I saw. Yeah. So Don Juan knew how to talk to him. But he also knew to leave that door open. And that's Philip's problem. Even when Philip erupts in the sense, Philip, you don't leave the door open for anybody to come back and have an adult conversation unless they want to come back crawling and eating their own ego.
Yeah,
Don't nobody
begging for forgiveness type of thing instead of
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
because I think there's also this thing of like he keeps trying to exert dominance over everyone that I think is not helpful. I think it's really, I think I don't know. I feel like sometimes he can be a little bit more clearer of just the direction of it, you know.
But that's how you know he's a softie, because usually people that are huge softies, they're always trying to exert dominance, because if you connect with them emotionally, they don't know how to put up boundaries. So the boundaries are like, and then as soon as somebody gets inside, that person's there forever. So it's kind of like with Philip, and we'll put it up. He needs definitely to learn a management style. He needs to read a book about conflict resolution, because once he knows conflict resolution, he won't have to be scared of by bending a little bit and being more flexible. He won't have to worry about his boundaries being the same way Don Juan is. Don Juan in this episode was a master at conflict resolution. He knew how to leave the door open. He knew how to talk to Don, even though he was looking at Philip like Philip lost his damn mind. He still was like, I'm gonna let you have your temper tantrum, and then you come back and talk to me like an adult. He was so good at managing everyone. Even the way he talked to Brian, he was like, Brian, I know, but you can't be. And he told him in such a respectful way, you got to do what's best for you. He told him, I know you let other people put a batter in your back, but guess what? They don't pay Brian's bills. So next time, think for yourself. And then he still held his guns, even though he knows, it looks to me, Brian looked like he was about to cry. He still told him in such a nice, respectful manner. So why don't you go home and think about it, and then we'll talk tomorrow about what's going on with the schedule. So Brian knew he messed up, but he was allowed to leave with his pride. And when Don Juan says, call me back, you're talking to me still as an equal. I'm not going to be. And Philip just doesn't know how to leave that door open. And it's a shame, because he could probably be really, really effective if he actually took some hints from Don Juan. Don Juan's an effective communicator with that conflict resolution out the yin yang. He got that locked up,
Well,
So
honestly, thinking about that, I think like Don Juan, like even though I know he has so many other things he needs to do, I think that they need a real firm hand there in management to whip everybody in shape. Because yeah, Philip is like, tough guns and everything, but I think they need I think he doesn't see the full circle. Like, yeah, they messed up. We need to talk about it, but he doesn't know how to clear it back up and bring it back around. That this is like a continuous cycle. He's like the door is closed type of person.
Well, Mrs. Shea said Philip has low emotional intelligence. I also feel like one of the reasons he says the door is closed is because Philip is afraid a little bit of people rejecting him. I think he's afraid of people rejecting him. So he's like, well, if you don't accept, I'm going to reject you first and put you in your place, so you won't have a chance to do that with me. And it's just like, again, Philip, babe, calm down. Look at Don Juan. Don Juan filleted all of y'all, handled all of y'all, put limits on, let y'all know all about yourself, but also let you know you're valued and respected. And when you stop with your BS, you are always welcome to come and get back on the team. So
one thing about it is that Brandon ended up unscathed in the whole situation. Philip and Brian both got burned, but he was able to walk off and continue being on his phone.
Exactly. Also, you guys, Nerva, thank you. Listen, you guys, can you hit that like button and show me some love? I don't understand. It is free. You guys are watching. Y'all know I'm going to keep begging for these likes. Come on off them. Stop trying to fill up me. I don't believe y'all. Anyway, listen, I think so. You said, I wonder if Kandi and Tom put their employees through mandatory training. Doesn't seem like it watching the show. I think they do. I think they're showing the conflict. Don't forget, they're showing they have to. Right?
Yeah, they have to. There's some I understand a lot of this is just fluffed up together, hyped up together, but some of it is just also a little lower scale issues. I don't think they're that well developed.
Yeah, I agree with you. And here's the thing: Laquita said, "I watched the show, but I think Philip should take each person to have a conversation without being condescending." Well, that's the problem, right? He could have just had one-on-one conversations and actually made them like him. But I feel like he feels like if they like him, that makes him weak. So that's a weird situation. Do you know what I'm saying? That is a weird situation. But listen, you guys, I have to go. Thank you so much for joining, judges, Antonio, Marie, Iffy, and who else was here? There was someone other. Oh, Sylvia. Thank you was it Sylvia? Chrissy? Ooh.
I think it was Sylvia. It was an S.
It was Sylvia, right? Thank you so much for joining and being part of the panel. You guys, we are doing Kandi and the gang. We're going to do it either right after the episode every Sunday, or maybe, I will be live with Up and Adam on Monday to review the episode. Make sure you join us then. It's going to be tomorrow. And we're going to find a time for Kandi Gang. It's either going to be there exactly at 10 or it's going to be at 10:30. But thank you so much, you guys. Let me know in the comments what time you guys think works best. I am taking suggestions. And thank you, everybody, for being a part of this. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, everybody.